Opiate addiction. So some of you may be able to relate to it, and some of you might not. I can. I remember when I was about 16, my mother was dying of cancer, and she would get Percocets from her doctor and would give them to me to take down to 125th Street to Harlem and sell them. So I would sell like 150 pills for $250 or something like that. And thank God that I didn't know like anything about opiate addiction or that those pills could get you high or anything like that, because in the state of mind that I probably would have taken them, because that's all we were looking for was just a good high, anything to escape the emotions and feelings that we were dealing with that we didn't know how to handle. So when I got pregnant, I was told that I had fibroids. And that was the first time that I learned that I had fibroids. And so the doctors told me you can either abort your child or suffer. And I didn't know what that would look like. So that was my first child. I had never gotten pregnant before in my whole life. And of course I wanted this baby. This was my first child. And so I chose to suffer, not knowing all that would come with suffering. So I got pregnant in July and I started to get sick in October. I thought I was dealing with hyperemesis. I believe that's the name of it. And I forgot the actual definition of it, but the symptoms is that you throw up and you just don't stop. So I was sick in October. From October until September the following year, I was sick for a whole year. And so as I began to deal with the pain of these fibroids, um, my doctor prescribed me Dilaudid, and I didn't know that Dilaudid was in the same family of heroin. I didn't know anything about opiate addiction. I didn't know. I was so ignorant. I was around this, but thank God, like no one ever exposed me to the pills. We were always just, we smoked weed, we popped ecstasy pills. I tried cocaine. Someone slipped me dust in a blunt one time, alcohol, but that was our safe drugs, So we never really used pills. I think because we were just ignorant, because we would have probably been all up in our parents' medicine cabinet, raiding it like ODing. So anyway, so here I am. I'm pregnant for the first time, carrying my son. Now I'm addicted to opiates. Dilaudid, that drug, I mean, when they would give it to me in my veins, I totally understood. I totally understood what heroin addicts experience. Like it's a high like no other. It was just like you totally just go into bliss. Like everything feels good. Any thought, any pain, any issue, anything, you just out of it, just ah. But anyway, I'm not glorifying what it is. I'm not glorifying the drug. I'm just saying I understand from the standpoint of if you're dealing with pain or if you were dealing with depression and you wanted to escape, that drug was like number one. However, that drug caused me so many problems. I went through withdrawal. I was totally sick without it. I mean, I suffered. I was in and out of the emergency room at least 3 times a week. Uh, I tried to abort my child, but it was too late because I was just suffering. I was in so much pain. You never know what you're going to do when you're in a situation. Like, I'm pro-life. Of course, I would never abort my child, but I was in so much pain that I was like, yo, if you don't take him out of me, I'm going to die. I went weeks without eating. I went weeks without using the bathroom. The only thing I could get up and do was pee. That was the only function that I had for for the most part. I mean, I might have had a good one good week out of maybe 2 months. But I mean, my story is just like it's trauma. It was traumatizing. And so my doctors prescribed me Percocets, they prescribed me Dilaudid, they prescribed me morphine, they had me on methadone. Now methadone is like a whole nother high. Like, oh, that stuff had me so doped up. I would just lay in the bed just out of it. So if I wasn't doped up on medicine, I was screaming at the top of my lungs from pain. My neighbors that lived beside us, they actually moved. They moved out because I was making so much noise. I would just scream. I mean, I would go sit in my car when it was like 100 degrees outside and I would be sweating and I would be so hot and I would just sit in there because the heat soothed me. So here it is. I have this fibroid in my stomach and it's fighting for space. So the fibroid is bulging out. My son is bulging out. They're like fighting. It's a fight going on inside of me for life. And so to make a long story short, I ended up in 3 psychiatric wards and 2 drug rehabilitation programs. And the psychiatric wards, yeah, like you ever watch those commercials and they be like, if you take this medicine, you're going to be suicidal, you're going to be anorexic, you're going to be this, you're going to be that, you're going to da 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 da. Like I had all of it. I had like everything in the alphabet. Like I was just totally going crazy. I was dealing with depression. I was feeling suicidal. I didn't want to live. And then I was dealing with pain. I know, the saying that God doesn't put more on you than you can bear. I don't know. I beg to differ. I'm like, Lord, I could not bear that. Like, I couldn't bear it and had to bear it. Like, I didn't have a choice. Like, I literally suffered. So the pain that I was feeling and dealing with was equivalent to labor pain, some would say. Labor pain, heartburn, um, anything in your stomach that you could think of that like bad cramps maxed out to like the thousandth power, like whatever pain that you could think of in your stomach that would cause you to feel like you just want to die is what I experienced for a whole year. So I went into psychiatric wards not because I was crazy, but sometimes it was just relief. Like if I would go to the emergency room, they would keep me for like 2 days and then they would release me. And then I would come home and I would just lay in my bed and suffer. I couldn't eat. I couldn't do nothing. And so I knew that if the hospital wouldn't keep me, the psychiatric ward, they would make sure that I ate. Meanwhile, I'm pregnant. Meanwhile, I'm still taking Dilaudid, morphine, fentanyl, methadone, Percocets. Meanwhile, I'm pregnant. So I got all this medicine in me, and I used to feel like I used to I would just feel psychotic, like totally just out of it. And I would just be praying, and I would be praying for like a bubble of protection around my son. Like, Lord, like I just have to believe. I have to believe. So like prior to that, I was enrolled in school. I was going for my master's degree. I was like 3 classes shy away from graduating. I was doing I was coordinating outreaches in Southeast DC at Benning Road Recreational Center, and I was just about to start a new volunteer opportunity with Urban Outreach in DC. And so I had all these things going for me. And now I lay in the bed and I'm unable to move. I'm unable to do my hair. I'm unable to bathe myself. Like, I'm just a loss for words. So anyway, after going through the drug rehabilitation programs, that's a whole nother story. I mean, I went from praying for people and watching God heal them. I was ministering in the healing rooms, the international healing rooms in Washington, D.C., under David and Tracy Ruhlman. And I've seen God heal people. Now I'm the one in need of healing. And, I went from that. Now I'm sitting in a circle with people and I'm saying, hi, my name is Alpha and I'm an addict. My drug is Dilaudid. Like, that was insanity to me. Like, how did I get from there to here? So this is my story, guys. Like, this is what I experienced. So okay, after all that, a couple had to take me in, Rebecca and Greg. Thank God for them. They took me into their home and they cared for me. I know I put Rebecca through hell because I would just scream at the top of my lungs and cry, and she would rub my back and she would give me medicine, and she fed me every day the same meal. She got me to eat, which was my life. Like, my son wasn't getting no food. Like, so I'm so thankful for them, and I can't tell my story and leave them out. So Rebecca takes me to the emergency room this last time, and the doctor says if we leave him in, he could die. If we take him out, he could die. So they gave me the shot to form his lungs like quickly, and then they were like, it's time. And so they began to take me into the room for surgery and operate on me. And as they were cutting me, they gave me an epidural. Like, I was already like used to anything. So yeah, shoot me up. Like, I don't want to feel nothing else. I was tired. I was so tired. Like, I was worn out mentally, physically. He gives me the epidural, cuts me open, starts to move some stuff, but I could feel him. And I'm like, I could feel you. I don't want to feel nothing. I thought I wasn't supposed to feel nothing. So my husband gives the anesthesiologist the head nod to knock me out. So that was it. I woke up, I was in a room. My stomach felt like someone threw gasoline on my stomach and lit it with a fire. So now I'm not just suffering with the pain from what I was going through with the withdrawals and all that and the fibroids. Now I'm dealing with the pain of a C-section in addition. So now they got fentanyl packs on me. I mean, they got me medicated up. I was on the pump where you could press the button and get the Dilaudid. Like, and when my doctor told me he was taking me off, I lost it. I cried, I begged, and he kept me on it. He kept me on it. So I gave birth to my son, and I wasn't able to see him immediately. I missed my whole pregnancy. I missed, like, my baby shower was in, like, the hospital. Like, people showed up. I remember Jackie showing up, and different people showed up and brought clothes, and I was truly thankful. So I didn't officially have a baby shower. So when my son came out, I didn't get to see him. I missed the whole birth. I just went to see him like the next day. He was in the incubator. He came out with withdrawal, so he had to have a small dosage of morphine. And yeah, so that was it. He came out, but he was a fighter. Like, it never seemed like he suffered. When I held him, they would say he can't see, but he would look me directly in my eyes, and they called him I forgot the name they used for him, but he was a fighter. He would just eat and grow, and he did really well in there. And then I brought him home, and then I couldn't take care of him because I was dealing with withdrawal from the opiates. Now the baby's out, they're trying to wean me off of Dilaudid, and I'm going through withdrawal. I mean, my legs felt crazy. My body felt crazy. I would shake. I would throw up. I would get so sick. And another couple took me in, Darnice and her husband. I think they were in Annapolis. They took me in because, again, I wasn't eating. I was sick. I was miserable. I went to every prayer service I can go to and get prayer, and I just suffered. And so I couldn't take care of my son. And thank God for Tony's mother. She stepped in and was a huge blessing in our lives. And that's when we ended up moving to Pennsylvania. And then I went to the doctor, got a depot shot for birth control, and totally healed. No more pain. So that is making a long story short. I'm sorry this video is so long, but I really wanted to share my story. And this story is found in my book, Without Measure. It just talks about, my journey through pregnancy and some of the things that I experienced. And, in the end, God gets the glory. I'm so thankful I'm able to tell my story and to reach out to women who are dealing with the option of aborting their child, the thought of aborting their child because the doctor said you're going to suffer. And I say that it was well worth it. My son is beautiful. He's healthy. He doesn't have any health issues. And I suffered for him to live. Isn't that what Christ did for us? He suffered so that we could live. And it's just an amazing experience. It's like, would I go through it again? But yeah, for the sake of my son, to be able to have a beautiful child and to love him the way that I do, nothing could replace that. So I want to encourage you guys to get my book, Without Measure. It will be released on June 15th, and I'm excited to share. That's just one of my stories, and I hope that this blessed you. So you guys have a wonderful day.